Well, good afternoon. Welcome again to the eulogy and memory sharing time for Lois. I know many of you attended the service and graveside, so thank you. On behalf of the family, thank you for joining us today. And so the plan is I'm going to say a prayer for this time and for the meal we're going to enjoy later. And then Angela is going to share the eulogy. Marcy is going to share a letter from the grandkids. And then we're going to offer an open memory sharing time. We have a microphone. You can come up here and use this one, or you can use this handheld one. And so be thinking now if there's a memory of Lois you'd like to share. You don't need to feel pressure to share. And I also want to say ahead of time, memory sharing time can feel uncomfortable because there's lots of silence. But that's okay, because that means people are thinking back through all the memories they have of Lois and thinking about something that might be appropriate to share with everyone. So let me pray for our time together and our meal, and then I'll invite Angela. So God, we thank you for this opportunity to commemorate and to celebrate the life of Lois. We thank you for who she was and the legacy she has left. I pray that as folks share memories today, and the eulogy, the letter from the grandkids, that as we grieve, that this would be a good form of grief. These would be good memories of a life well lived. And God, we ask that as we consider Lois and her life, that may challenge things in our own that perhaps need challenging and changing, so that we too can leave the kind of life and legacy and story that you have called us to. And thank you for this time together. And we also thank you together for the time of meal, of sharing together in a meal we're about to enjoy. In your name we pray. Amen. And so Angela, come on up.
Hello. Today I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Tiara, and so I'm going to be speaking from her perspective. Good afternoon. My name is Tiara Noe. I am Chris's wife and Lois's daughter-in-law. From the bottom of our hearts, we would like to thank each and every one of you for coming to celebrate Lois's life. Often the words mother-in-law bring to mind judgment and criticism, and perhaps even telling you everything you do is wrong just to be helpful. They are often not words that bring to mind patience, concern, and a true desire to take care of others for no other reason than genuinely wanting to meet their needs. But this is what Lois was to those around her, a true beacon of light that radiated all that she touched. She dressed herself in a true elegance each and every day that distinguished her from other people. You never knew the burdens she carried, as she was simply so composed and put together each and every day. A caretaker in every aspect of her life, Lois drove the school bus for Elizabeth School District for 30 years and attended nearly every major event in her grandchildren's lives. Ranching was a daily activity for Lois, alongside Wayne, for many years. She would drive around on her tractor baling hay. Attached to her tractor was a large umbrella meant for an awning that would provide her with shade during the intense summer heat. Her hair was adorned with a hairnet, ensuring not one hair was out of place. Baling hay alongside the best of men, Wayne and Chris, she would often outlast them both. A nurturer by nature, she would nurse calves back to health by giving life-saving medicine and assisting Wayne and Chris in the birthing process. Vital to the ranch's success, Lois worked hand in hand with Wayne and Chris to manage every aspect. Chris and I would take many camping trips with Lois and Wayne. Several trips were to Minnesota to meet Lois's extended family. In the RV, while on the road, we would play solitaire war as we would drive home to Colorado. Often our camping trips were accompanied by time on the lake fishing. She loved to catch fish and relax on the water. Later, we would enjoy the catch of the day for a tasty dinner. Lois was able to travel all over the country and camp. I remember a trip to Mount Rushmore. She and Wayne took the trip with my parents and some family friends. It was full of shall we say, unexpected and difficult challenges, but Lois made the most of every minute of it. Lois was among the first to know when we found out we were pregnant with our first child, Lita. She was in the hospital room, providing needed support through every birth. A refuge for our children, she provided a second home for them to go to. If my kids ever needed anything, they knew Grandma was just a short walk away and would always take them in, whether for a snack, picnics under the tree, or to escape some discipline. They were always met with a warm smile, open arms, and they would run into a big hug. Enjoying their weekend drives, Lois and Wayne would get up early to grab breakfast before heading up the hill. Lois always enjoyed these quick getaways with Wayne to the mountains. Often they would stop and spend time in Cripple Creek or Blackhawk and enjoy some time with friends. Returning rejuvenated, they were excited to be back with their family once again. She has touched so many lives through the years. I am one of the biggest recipients of her care. An example of this is that I have my career thanks to Lois's persistence. She encouraged me time and again to pursue my field until I did, which directly led to my joy and success in this chosen path. This care extended to her job as well. Knowing she had to be on time each day for her route, Lois was so much more than a bus driver to all the kids she drove. A counselor, mediator, second parent, and friend to the kids, she took each role to heart, establishing relationships with her kids and their families. Driving was so much more to her than a job. Even throughout her battle with cancer and to her final days, she felt called to drive her route, often saying, "I've got to get to my route and take care of my kids." A fighter dedicated to everything she committed to. From the moment Lois first found out she had cancer, she never slowed down. Despite having chemo treatment, she continued to drive her route. Suffering 2 heart attacks, Lois felt it important to show up the following weekend and be present for her grandchildren as they showed at the fair. She spent the week of fair helping my mom prepare meals for everyone, and she never missed a beat. A true model of dedication and loyalty, Lois worked to care for those around her until the last possible moment and felt obligated to continue beyond that. Lois's main goal in life was to care for her family. This is seen in everything she did day in and out. Giving what she could of her time, providing a warm meal, and shopping for clothes were just a few of the ways she showed her love and care. All anyone ever needed to do was ask, and she was there to lend a helping hand. As the years went by, getting to know Lois's heart has made me realize things I never quite understood before. For me, it was hard to understand a woman who seemed to live her life for everyone else except for herself. It seemed like a life still focused on being a mother to her adult children could be a life of missed opportunities. I did not get how tending to her husband's every need could be fulfilling her own needs. I couldn't grasp how coming to anyone's aid anytime she was asked did not make her feel taken advantage of every once in a while. It took me longer than I want to admit to understand just how special Lois was. The turning point was when I realized that I, too, was special to her. In time, I realized Lois's reason for living was to be a mother and a grandmother. It was her true calling and all she ever really wanted. I was the one who needed to learn from her. I was the one going 90 miles an hour through life, never really stopping to enjoy what was right in front of me, my family. Lois has made me a better mother and a more conscientious wife and friend. Through her, I have learned to give more freely and more often with ease. It is because of her example that I will pass on to my children and their children just how special it is to be a mother. I know this has been long, but I hope through it you can see our hearts and know just how special Lois was and how she touched our lives. She will be missed each and every day. Thank you.
From Lois's grandkids. On Sunday, January 16th, 2022, we lost a very important person in our life, a grandma, a best friend, a loved one, our biggest fan, and more than we can explain. Coming from Mya. My favorite memory with my grandma was I loved spending time with her, and she took me to her hair salon, and we got our hair done together. I miss her so much. She was always watching me do handstands and supporting me. I loved eating her scrambled eggs together, helping her peel peas, and picking strawberries together. I was so grateful that I have and will always have a grandma like her. Whenever I was down, she would always make me happy no matter what. I love her. Coming from Wes. Lois Noe is my grandma. I hope she knows how much I love her and how much she meant to me. She was a big part of my life, and she was always there for me. I will never forget how she would show up to all my stuff, even if it was 3 hours away. She would go to all my wrestling duels since I was in 2nd grade. She loved us kids so much, I remember she had a heart attack not too long ago, and the next weekend she went to her horse show, even though she was not feeling the best. She loved us so much, and I will never forget how much she loves me, cares about me. If I could tell my grandma one more thing, I would tell her how much I love her and miss her. Coming from Lita. My grandma has been by my side since day one. She was life's greatest gift, the day I was born. She provided love and support for me, and not just for me, but my whole family. I miss her dearly and miss everything about her. One of my greatest memories with her was when she always took me out on a girls' day from the beginning of school, year shopping sprees. Her and I always had so much fun, the both of us trying on clothes and spending every moment laughing together. Or the time when Mya, her, and I would put together a picnic on our many tables and enjoy it under a tree in the backyard and enjoy lemonade all together. Without her, I feel a piece of me gone. She may have loved me since I was born, but I have loved her my whole life. And I know she will watch over me and see who I became and be so proud. She would do absolutely anything for us. Just one more day with her would mean the absolute world to me. Coming from the bottom of my heart, she was a role model to me and more than a grandma. I love her more than anyone knows. She has a heart of gold and only wants what's best for us. She was dedicated to making us happy and feel loved and cared for. She has always been comforting on the worst days. I love you, Grandma, and I miss you so much. Cancer took you way too soon. It's so evil, and you never deserved any part of it. You are truly a light in my life and always will be. I will always love you and do what I love by honoring you.
Thank you for sharing those sweet memories. And if anyone would like to come and share with everyone a memory of yours of Lois, now is the time to come forward and do that. Or I can come to you if you don't want to come to the front. You don't have to.
My memory with Lois would be that we'd be at the fair and the kids would be everywhere, and she'd be the one to come and help me chop up whatever I needed, or we get the food, prepare the food. So that was really good. And our fishing trips, yeah, we'll miss her.
I have a good memory of Lois. She's the one that got me into cats. Kitty cats. I love cats. I'm obsessive with cats. I'm sorry. She always had a kitty cat, and Every time I went over there to her house and spent time with my grandma, she would put a movie on, Inspector Gadget or Parent Trap, and she had this beautiful gray kitty cat, and she always told me, you can never pet the kitty cat or grab the cat will come to you. So one day, Grandma puts in a movie in for me in the living room, Parent Trap. I lay on the couch, and here comes the kitty cat just walking down. Good memory. And the cat just jumps on me and just lays on me, and I'm like, wow, Grandma's right. So I started petting the kitty cat, and Grandma comes down the living room, and she's watching me pet the cat, and she sees at me, and she just sits in that comfort chair, that one-seat chair, and she crosses her legs, and she's just smiling. That was my best moment of my grandma. And I love her. She's in my heart, she's in my brain, and she's in my spirit, and she's always with me no matter what. And I always wanted to let you guys all know, I don't know 3/4 of you. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't recognize half of you. But she is my grandma, and I love her. And I lost my mom 4 years ago, and I didn't know what to say at that church or that funeral. Was it an unexpected death? This one, watching her with cancer, was hard to see. Really, really hard to see. And I didn't want to see that. I visited her at the hospital. I saw her at her house, and it was hard to see, and I love her, and I'll always remember her and cherish her as my grandma and my grandpa and everybody else, my family. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
This is real difficult for me. I'm not a very good public speaker, but I just want to say that my mother taught me how to be a mother. I know my sister, her dream was always to get married and have children and a family, and I was pretty selfish and self-absorbed, as teenagers are. But when I finally did get married, Tammy was always the mom and, had all those mothering, nurturing qualities, and I never did. But when my first daughter was born, I knew what to do. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared. I was pretty young, but she was just part of me. And I raised 3 beautiful, loving daughters and never thought twice. I was never the mother that was scared, oh, they're crying, they're this or that. I just knew what to do. And my mother became a mother when she was really young. And she knew what to do too. And she made me the mother that I am. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and, we all do. But my mother taught me how to be a mother. And I'm just forever grateful. And she married so young, and I just know how incredibly hard her life was and how many sacrifices she had to make. But we always knew how much she loved us, always. And I'm just grateful for that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa. I call her Grandma. I'm her granddaughter. I'm her first granddaughter, and so I got to spend a lot of my childhood with her. I was kind of raised, me and my brother and Chris, we kind of grew up together and played a lot, and we'd always go over to Grandma's, and the boys would go out and play, and I always got to have that special time with her. We were either fixing lunch. It was never making lunch. It was fixing lunch. And we got to do our nails and just kind of chat. She'd always show me a photo book of somebody that was extended family or their kids, and she would always explain it to me. And I'd always get to know who everybody was and how important they were to her. One of my favorite memories with her is that as I got to spend time with her and the boys were out playing, we got to watch her stories. So if you know my grandma, she loved her soap operas. and it really got me addicted to them as well until I went into college. But and I didn't have any more time to. But I always knew Grandma would record them on VCR, and we'd sit and we'd watch them, and boy, they were pretty interesting. As a young kid, I loved them. So, and my mom, she watched them too. So, I really got it double whammy there. I always teased Grandma because she would always say that she was going to go get her hair done, and I was like, Grandma, your hair looks great. She's like, oh no, the gray's coming through, and I'm like, Grandma, you don't have gray. She goes, yes, I do. I go, I have never seen proof of it, so I don't believe you. So I always remember that of her. I never believed that she had any gray hair. Another favorite memory I have, as we were kids, I grew up in Kiowa, so we'd always drive out to her house, and we'd be driving along, and she'd be like, look, kids, there's a cow. She'd get all excited, there's a cow, and I'm like, Grandma, I've seen cows. But she used to get so excited and want us kids to be excited about animals, and I love that about her. One of my favorite memories is picking strawberries with her as well. I didn't realize that you got to do that too. That was really, really special. She loved her strawberry patch, and I to this day, I can't even grow my own strawberries, so I don't know how she did it. But I just remember a lot of, another one I have a lot, but Chris and I and Mikey, we'd go out and we'd go to the pool and we'd swim, and you know kids, they want to splash, but you would not get Grandma's hair wet. If you get Grandma's hair wet, you were out of the pool, so. I was like, Grandma, it's fun to get your hair wet. What are you doing? What are you thinking? And so, but that was one of my favorite memories of her. I loved that she was just very particular about that. I love my grandma. I was really grateful for the opportunity to be back here closer to her the last year and a half. I'm really grateful that I got to spend time with her before she passed. I'm really grateful as I became an adult that she took the time to come and have lunch with me. You know, I was raising small kids and I was working full time, but she would go drive her bus, deliver her kids to school safely, and then she would come into town and have lunch with me, and I loved our chats. I knew how much she loved her youngest grandkids. I know how she loved all her grandkids, but she particularly loved her youngest grandkids. Because she would always bring pictures and tell us about all the fun things and exciting things that Lita and Wes and Mya was doing, and I really love that about her. And she loved her family. She loved everyone. She had pictures of all of you, and even though I might not know who you are right now, but I've probably seen a picture of you. I've probably heard a story. She loved her kids. She loved her grandkids. She loved Grandpa. And I'm really grateful for the things that I learned from her and for the time that I got with her. And she will really be missed.
Lois and I drove bus together for, 20-some years. And we used to take trips together. And we went down to the Capitol and that area several times. And at that time, there was a place we could park our buses on Cherokee Street. There was also a bar and grill on Cherokee Street called Cherokee Bar and Grill. And Lois had gone down there so many times that she had her own special booth in this Cherokee Bar and Grill. So we'd go down, we'd park our buses. Well, what are we gonna do? Shall we walk around downtown? No, let's go over, have coffee. And we go over to the Cherokee Bar and Grill, and we'd wait till the kids were ready to go home. And we had a good time. It was always fun.
Well, the good news is, even if you don't feel comfortable using the microphone, this can still be a memory sharing time. I'm going to play a slideshow that the family's prepared, and then I invite you to come and get some food. And I also invite you to continue sharing these memories. That time doesn't need to stop. And I encourage you, as you're eating, to share your treasured memories of Lois. So let me run up there and press play and enjoy.